right. Good morning. It's so good to see you guys here today. I appreciate it so much. So today is part 4 of the Rainbow series, Defy Gravity. Defy Gravity 2020. When we defy gravity, that's really about letting the weight of our past go. And we do that by using the power of grace to light up where we are in pain in our shadow so that we can release that. Our shadow shows us what we need healing, what needs healing. And we know we're coming from our shadow because we'll react instead of respond to the world. We'll feel fear, we'll lack faith, and we are just not ourselves when we are responding or reacting out of our shadow. And so the shadow is not a bad thing. All it's doing is showing us where we need to be healed. Right? If you cut your toe and it got infected and got all red and it hurt, it's not a bad toe. It's showing you it needs to be healed. It's calling your attention. So that's what the shadow does. So defying gravity is the process of releasing the weight of our past, releasing our pain. Because our pain, I want you to imagine this. When you were born into this world, somebody gave you a bag. And this bag can expand forever and hold as much as you can get in there. Every time you experience pain or trauma in your life, every time you felt hurt, betrayed, whether it was big or little, somebody gave you a newspaper from that very day, and you put that newspaper in that bag, and you had to keep carrying it around with you. How big would that bag be right now? And how heavy would that bag be? Now, for $1 million, you probably could not carry that bag with any speed whatsoever. And so this is what happens. The weight of our past slows down the good that we want to create in our life. So the heavy weight becomes also waiting, which is in time. So it's slowing down our ability to bring our greatest good into our life. So the first part of the Rainbow series, we talked a little bit about the tribal chakra, and that's where we get our foundation. As little kids, that was the day we wore red. And from the tribe, we learn acceptance. But if we don't feel accepted, if we get shunned at any point when we're young, then we might develop the shadow at that point, right? Because we'll have felt humiliated. And humiliation is the hardest thing for us to forgive. So then we went to the sacral chakra, which is the second chakra, and we wore orange that day. And it's from this chakra, what? Oh, I'm sorry, I thought somebody said something. It's from this chakra.
It was God, Deanna.
Oh, okay. Where we develop our sense of like how we work in relationship in the world. But our relationships are not just about with other people. How we show up in relationship is how we show up in life. How we show up in our job, our calling, of course, our personal relationships, our relationship with the crowd of people, like at a busy store, our relationship with others as we're driving at 7:45 in the morning on the 10 freeway. That's all about how we show up with life. So the shadow of the sacral chakra is never having enough, but the grace is piety. So the grace, I don't know if I said this, the grace of the first chakra, the tribal, is reverence. So reverence for all of life. And then we have the grace of piety, which allows us that devotion to this idea that all of life is sacred. And then we go into the solar plexus, which is where we are now developing a personal sense of self, trusting ourselves, our innate gifts and talents. We're ready to share them with the world. But if we're not ready for that and we have a shadow, that shadow would be entitlement. But the grace of the solar plexus is understanding. So we have a powerful grace for healing anything we could be struggling with. So today we move into the heart chakra. And the heart chakra is the powerhouse of the human energy system. Now it's different than the heart center. I talk about the heart center a lot too, but the heart center is like the doorway into spirit. Okay, and it's the channel for light, for love to come through us. The heart chakra is mediating between our first 3 chakras, which govern our physical body, and then the next 3 chakras, which I will be talking about over the next 3 weeks. So it helps us to mediate between spiritual understanding, but also living a joyful life in a physical body. So it's our heart chakra that's allowing us to really embody the idea that we are an infinite being in a body, that we are an extension and expression of God in this world. We are the activity of God in this world. It brings it all together so that we can joyfully live a physical life utilizing our spiritual senses. So we walk by faith and not by sight. Okay, we bring in love, faith, understanding. We live a physical life utilizing a spiritual powerhouse of grace and good. Okay? That's what allows us to bring our gifts into this world. Like being centered in the heart chakra, that's what allows us to bring our gifts and talents into this world. But the heart, there is a shadow. The heart chakra has a shadow, and that shadow is wrath. It's wrath. That kind of surprised me, because when I think of wrath, I think of the goddess Kali and the volcano erupting, right? I think of wrath. I think of a storm, a tempest, right? Just powerful elements. That's how I think of wrath. But wrath is actually vengeful anger. It's vengeful anger. Now, anger on its own, it's not a bad thing because it moves us into action. If we recognize that something seems wrong, unjust, unfair, anger may fire us up, but then we move into action. And so the anger diffuses, and instead we are in like problem-solving mode, right? We're in solution mode. And we're able to bring through the grace of love into our life to behave as a spiritual being in this world. But if anger is not acted on, and instead we just sit on it and just hold on to it, it turns into wrath. And how wrath can look in our lives is bitterness and jealousy and an inability to forgive and let go of something. Okay, because it turns on us. It turns on us. We hurt ourselves so much more when we are in the state of bitterness, jealousy, stubbornly refusing to forgive. We do more damage to ourselves than we probably do to anybody who's on the receiving end of that. To have a wrathful heart is to see any kind of love as a threatening force. And to stop being bitter, to stop being jealous, to decide we are going to forgive, those things open us up to love. Those things open us up to love. And we would have to see the other person as sacred to be able to let go of bitterness, jealousy, and be willing to forgive. We have to see the other person as sacred to do that. So it opens us up to love and makes us vulnerable in our shadow, when we are in our shadow. See, wrath wants to keep the heart shut down. Wrath wants to keep the heart angry, to fight against forgiveness and compassion. So I have a real world experience of wrath, and it's just kind of funny. It's kind of funny and interesting. But when I first got out of high school, I went to work for a mortgage company, and I was in the data processing department. And there was a lady who would bring in a giant box of donuts like once a week. And I was like, it was so awesome because I was in my 20s and I could actually eat a donut in ignorance thinking it was okay for me, right? And I would just like eat donuts and it was like good times, good times. So this lady would bring in these donuts. Well, one day I'm talking with a coworker and we're talking about this donut place that her parents used to go to when she was little. And it's just some little mom and pop place in San Bernardino. I don't remember the name of it, but you would remember it, Mom, maybe. It's been so long. But I'm talking with this gal, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my grandma's favorite place to get donuts. They have great donuts. And we're just talking about, because it's just a little mom and pop's place named like Joe's or Bob's or something, right? So we're just talking about donuts, and we're eating donuts and talking about donuts. And well, like over the next couple of weeks, I noticed that the lady wasn't bringing donuts anymore, right? This other lady, like no donuts. But it was a huge company, right, in Shearson. There was like between 300 and 500 people working there at any given time. You could walk anywhere in that building and find a box of donuts. So I didn't think much about it until somebody told me she heard you guys talking about how you would get donuts from another place, and they were better donuts than her donuts. So she stopped bringing them. She stopped bringing them. Now, I can't speak for this woman and what's going on in her shadow self, but this is how it can look. If when we're young, for some reason, we're not accepted, there's something about us that's not approved of, we are shunned in some way, then we feel humiliated by that experience. Then we feel not good enough. Now we're in the shadow, but that makes us vulnerable. And so somebody can say something and we'll take it totally wrong. We will make an assumption about somebody not approving of us. I mean, seriously, like, to me, a donut's a donut. And I know I felt that way at 22 or 23 years old. I know I felt that way. I wouldn't have known her donuts from this other place's donuts, I'm sure. But she's the one that made the decision to assume that we were bad-mouthing her donuts and not appreciating her. She also told this person that wasn't very respectful of us to behave that way towards somebody who was bringing us donuts every week. Okay, so we weren't disrespecting her, but she felt she was entitled to that respect. Now, it's wonderful when we are doing our very best. It's wonderful to get respect. But are we entitled to the respect of other people? We're not actually entitled to it, because that would mean we're trying to control their response to us. Now, within love, we're just okay with ourselves, and we're fine. If we're doing our best, people out here think what they are going to think. Now, yeah, it can hurt our feelings if somebody isn't respecting us, but that's still on them. It's not us. So that turned into having a vengeful heart because she decided to punish the entire department. Okay, in a way, that's kind of punishment. She withdrew a goodie. She withdrew something. And that's a wrathful heart, is withdrawing. I'll show you. You're not going to see this again. Okay, so that's wrath. She might have also had some shadow on the solar plexus. But see, it got all to the heart, and she couldn't forgive. She couldn't let that go. Now, because the heart mediates between all the chakras, the shadows of our first three chakras, the entitlement, the never having enough, and the arrogance, can move right into the heart. And this is where we'll decide, I'm only going to love people that are easy to love, that agree with me, think my donuts are better than anybody else's donuts. Okay, I'm going to love somebody that's in totally just admires me and respects me, never speaks against me. Okay, that's wrath. That is wrath. I did find out, because our department was a big department and it was in different sections of the building, she kept bringing donuts, she kept them at her desk, and was only giving donuts to the people who thought her donuts were the best. That's kind of how it was. So that's okay. That's okay. In the shadow of the heart, we will find fault with others, and we will move into an us versus them mindset. Or we move into a me versus them mindset. Okay, if you've ever experienced heartache, been betrayed over and over and over again, and these words come from your lips, I will never trust anybody again. That's being in the shadow of the heart. Right? If you've ever counted on your intuition to give you an answer, you've prayed, and you don't receive the answer, or you receive something that throws you off and you can't move forward, you're not feeling like you've been heard, and you say, I will never trust my intuition again. I'm just not going to trust that. That's in the shadow of the heart. The shadow of the heart, the wrath, it also eats at our faith and our intuition. Okay, so imagine this. You're wanting to create an experience of greater good in your life right now. Maybe it's healing, personal growth, maybe deeper relationships, living your purpose. But if you're in the shadow, there's the weight. The weight is slowing down the time. Okay, so maybe you're doing all the work. Maybe you're doing the prayer. Maybe you're acting on your intuition. But nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. So then you might think, this isn't working for me. Okay, being in the shadow will cause us to doubt. We might look at other people, compare ourselves to them. Well, they had one inspiration. They said one prayer, and look at all their life just came together beautifully. Like, why isn't it happening for me? Why isn't it happening for me? I've asked for healing. I've prayed for healing, and yet nothing's happening. Nothing is changing in my world. I'm meditating and open to guidance, but I'm not hearing anything. And yet this person over here is like, I want this, and I want to do this, and bam, bam, bam. Things are happening really quickly for them. Why not me? Why is it taking so long for me? Why is it easier for this other person? Why isn't the universe supporting me like it's supporting them? Why isn't this working? Don't I deserve this? And if we ask that question, we ask it with a really sad heart when we say that. But that's being in the shadow. That's wrath. Now, the grace of this heart is fortitude. Okay, the grace of the heart chakra is fortitude. Fortitude is the strength to bear up calmly, the strength to endure, the strength to believe what other people are not believing. Okay, the strength to believe even when they're against you, the strength to believe in yourself in spite of your own little voice of fear, your ego saying, shouting, things aren't going to work out. Are you crazy? You try this, you're just going to embarrass yourself. Fortitude is the strength to say to that ego, you're a toddler throwing a tantrum, get in the back seat. Buckle up. I'm not going to throw you off a bridge or anything, but buckle up and just be back there and just be quiet. Okay, that's fortitude. The love, Paul, the Apostle Paul, who is love, he is also love, but he said in the book of 1 Corinthians, he's talking about the qualities of love, what love is and what love isn't. These are also the qualities of fortitude. This is what Paul said. Love is patient and kind. It does not envy. It does not make a vain display of itself and does not boast. Because that's the tribal shadow, right? That's a shadow behavior. It does not behave unseemly. It's not easily provoked. It thinks no evil. It does not rejoice over suffering. It rejoices over the truth. It bears all things. It believes all things. It hopes all things. It endures all things. Love never fails. That is the power of love. And that is the power of fortitude working through us right here, right now. Always available. We don't have to work for it. We just open to receive it. It is a grace. It is a gift of grace, which means it's always there. Always there. We need fortitude to follow through on the hard things. Fortitude gives us the strength to shore up our faith. Right? If your faith is feeling a little wobbly, fortitude will help you strengthen it. When we think things aren't happening fast enough, or something is wrong, or we're not doing it right, fortitude gives us the strength to stick to the process and do our very best, even when we want to give up. Right? Doing our very best. That's not perfection, just doing our best. Fortitude gets us through rigorous transitions, and that rigorous transition is whatever challenge you are currently going through right now. Okay, whatever challenge, whatever obstacle you're facing right now, that's a transition state. It is transmuting your life. Transmutation is turning one substance into another. And we need fortitude to get through this challenge because before our challenge, before our obstacle, and after the obstacle, we actually change into a whole new person. We transmute from the person we are now to the person who with ease got through that challenge, stayed solution-oriented, stayed focused on faith instead of the perceptions of this world. That's transmutation happening. That's alchemy. That is spiritual alchemy. A caterpillar does the same thing. Okay, caterpillar goes into its chrysalis or its cocoon, and it actually, and I don't want to gross anybody out, but it breaks down to gelatinous something and remakes itself. It remakes itself into the butterfly. Now imagine the caterpillar waking up in the middle of this process.
What?
What is going on? The caterpillar's lucky. We are awake through the whole thing. When our life is breaking down, right? We're in the middle of it all. We get to see it. We get to view the whole thing. Okay, so fortitude gives us the strength to bear that, to go through that process of transformation. Where wrath will justify our behavior, our self-pity, and our victimization, fortitude moves us into the territory of forgiveness. Talk about transformation. Forgiveness is huge, powerful transformation. To forgive, we have to remove our armor. We have to be soft. The mind loathes forgiveness because fundamentally, forgiveness is unfair. It's not fair. I know I watched something on social media a while back, and I won't share the details with you, but it was very upsetting. I found out the person who did this thing went to jail, and in my head, I said, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. Maybe a life sentence. That's not good enough. Okay, that's wrath. That's stubbornly not forgiving something. Forgiveness is not about fairness, though. Forgiveness is about defying gravity. That's what forgiveness is about. With fortitude, we can stand in love and we can do the hard things, like forgive, even when it's not fair. That is the ultimate act of human courage, is to stand in love. To be real, warts and all, right? To have compassion for those who have done terrible things. That takes fortitude. The Dalai Lama, when he was driven out of his home in Tibet by the Chinese government, he was asked, how do you feel about that government now? The Dalai Lama said, I have compassion for them. Because he has a heart with no weight. He has defied gravity. Now, a heart that defies gravity opens to the mysteries. The heart that defies gravity understands love is not what we are seeking to bring into our world. Love is not something we're trying to get. Love is something we are. We are already that love. That's how we're the activity of God in this world. We are God expressed. We are love expressed. All that we see is the expression of love all around us when we are in love, when we are embodying that love, that original substance that made all things. Right? God is infinite. That means everything is from God. Everything is God. Everything is God extended into this physical world. Every person that we see. And so fortitude gives us the strength to give up those behaviors that harm us, those behaviors that keep us from wanting to forgive other people. Right? Those are behaviors that harm us. Our ego just wants to be right. And our ego, our fearful self, will keep saying, it's better to be right than happy. If I have to destroy every relationship in my life to prove I am right, so be it. That is the wrathful heart. That is a wrathful heart. Fortitude also helps us to create a routine so we can start our day off moving into reverence and seeing the sacredness of all of life. Seeing that sacredness. Even in the things and in the people we need to forgive. That is the power of grace in our lives. The grace of reverence helps us to get to fortitude, but the grace of fortitude also calls forth all the other graces. Fortitude calls forth understanding and piety, the devotion to this truth that all of life is sacred, the reverence. Fortitude allows us then to remember that all of life is from the all, and that means you, and that means me, and the people who annoy us, the people we love the most, who are easy to love, the people that are hard to love, the people that don't like our donuts the best. All people. All people. See, people are not in our lives by accident. We are here for maximum opportunities for growth. Because God is expansive. It's about expansion. It's about expanding love into this world, and good into this world, and the grace into this world. We're made to share grace too with others. We're grace generators. It's coming right through us, and it's expanding through us. Now, all of our growth all of our growth, what we're doing, is we are looking at an obstacle. Okay, it's our perceived obstacle, because God is bigger than anything in his way. But our growth is about seeing that perceived obstacle and deciding, no, that's a door. That is the door to my transformation. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor, said, what stands in the way becomes the way. The person right in front of you, the person who is in your thoughts, the person that you're dwelling on or lamenting over, that person is a doorway. That person is the doorway to your transformation, to expanding your consciousness, to including more good in your life. That is what that person is. Because how we feel about other people reflects our current belief, okay, not a truth, but how we feel about other people reflects our belief in our relationship to God. If we believe we're separate or not. And if we're judging somebody else and we can't refute or we can't forgive another person, we're not really aligned with the spirit within. So another person is a reflector to us. Now, when we have a clear understanding of our relationship with God, we are ready to be in relationship with others, because when you know who you are, you know who all people are. All people. The people that are easy to love and the people that aren't. You know who all people are. God extended into this world. Every person we look at, no matter what, every person we look at, we are looking at the wonder that is God. The wonder that is God. The bigness that is God. The potential, the possibilities, the beauty that is God. And when you can do that, you are one lit soul. Right? You are one lit soul. And you know the power of one lit soul. When you are a soul well lit, you see all of life as sacred. You see everyone as a holy partner on this journey, as the doorway to your transformation. Because that's how we create heaven on earth. So until next time, remember, you are the activity of spirit in a body. You are the heart and you are the hands of God in this world. You are soul designed for growth and goodness. In everything you do, you are blessed. And so it is.
Amen.
All right, we're just going to move into a short meditation. Just let this all settle in. Right? That's a lot of bigness thinking about that. Yeah. All right, so I'll just have you take a nice deep breath. Just feel yourself sitting here comfortably. And imagine in the center of your heart, or the center of your chest, this is your heart center. And it is a radiant golden ball of light. And you see this light expanding until it completely surrounds you. And you send a ray of this golden light down to the center of the planet, where it mixes with the loving energies of Mother Earth. Mother Earth, the very first energy that greeted you on the day you were born. And this ray of golden light mixes with the emerald green light of the planet. And together they shine back up through the planet, through your feet, and back into your heart center. And now see your heart center expanding even more. It grows bigger than this room, bigger than this church, even bigger than the planet. And you find yourself floating in space, where you can look at this beautiful blue marble that we call home. And you gently affirm in that brilliant imagination of yours, I am created in the image and Creator. I am. I am the means for good to be expressed in this world. I am. I am the activity of spirit and divine inspiration, divine ideas guide me to express the good, to express love, and to be a grace generator. I am a love amplifier. I am. I trust in the spirit within. And every day, my faith grows stronger. It guides me into the next brightest experience. I trust God who sent me here. And I give and I receive love easily. I send love out to others with no expectation. They may bask in it, or they may ignore it, but I send it out anyway. I am the light of spirit in my life. The hands and the heart of God in this world. I am. When I have trouble forgiving, I let Spirit lovingly remind me that it's safe to forgive. It is safe. I am that light in this world, and I am light in my life. I am. Now it's time to come back into this room. Feel yourself sitting right where you are. Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your fingers. Put a big smile on your face. Take a nice deep breath and open your eyes. All right. Well, I'm going to have the Unity Band join me. We're going to sing a song and do our offering.